Buckle up, everyone, because today we're going to be taking a deep dive into something that affects you every time you get behind the wheel.
Road safety.
Road safety.
Yeah.
You got it. And we're not just talking about like your basic driver's ed stuff.
Yeah.
We're going way deeper than that today.
Much deeper.
So we got our hands on this pretty interesting document, actually. It's from the Federal Highway Administration, FHWA.
Yep.
And you can kind of think of it like their wish list, I guess, for making roads safer in the future.
Yeah, it's really like a sneak peek at all the challenges they're thinking about right now.
And they're actually looking for help. They want to get the best and brightest minds to join their road safety squad.
What I think is really interesting is that the approach that they're taking is it's called the safe system approach.
Okay.
And it's kind of a different way of thinking about safety than maybe we have in the past.
Yeah.
So instead of just trying to prevent crashes, they realize that humans aren't perfect. We make mistakes. And sometimes crashes are just going to happen. So they're saying the system itself needs to be designed to minimize the harm when those crashes do happen.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But how do you actually design a system that compensates for human error?
Right.
I mean, are we talking about bubble wrapping cars and roads paved with pillows?
Not quite. Not quite. But it's really about looking at how people and the road environment kind of come together and designing a system that tries to anticipate and reduce those risks.
Gotcha.
So think about things like roundabouts.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of force drivers to slow down and be more aware of what's around them, and that can really reduce those high-speed collisions.
So it's not just about building safer cars, it's about building roads that actually encourage safer behavior.
Yeah, exactly. And it goes even beyond that. They're looking at everything from human factors research to public health and even ADA compliance.
Wow.
They want to understand how things like fatigue distraction and even the design of crosswalks can impact safety.
So they're not just using good old-fashioned engineering here.
Yeah.
I saw something in this document about AI and large language models.
Yeah.
Are they going to start putting ChatGPT in charge of traffic lights?
Well, probably not ChatGPT specifically, but
Okay.
the idea of using AI in road safety, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Imagine a system that could look at real-time traffic data, weather conditions, even how individual drivers are behaving.
Yeah.
And then predict potential risks.
Cool.
And warn drivers before anything even happens.
Okay, now that is starting to sound a little bit like science fiction.
A little bit.
But, I mean, is that really possible with the technology we have now?
That's a good question.
And, what about privacy? I mean, do we really want our cars, spying on us?
I mean, those are all good questions, and I'm sure the FHWA is thinking about those ethical and logistical challenges, too.
Yeah.
But you can't deny the potential of using AI to prevent crashes and save lives.
I mean, for sure. So it sounds like they're really looking for expertise from all kinds of different fields. But who exactly is leading this charge within the FHWA?
Well, one of the key players is the Office of Safety and Operations Research and Development.
Okay, that's a mouthful. Can we just call them the safety scientists?
Sure, the safety scientists.
All right, safety scientists it is.
Yeah.
So what kind of research are they actually doing?
Pretty much everything from evaluating how well different safety measures actually work to developing new testing procedures and standards.
Mm-hmm.
They're also looking at all this new technology like connected vehicles and automated driving systems.
Okay, so they're really pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Yeah.
But even with all the coolest technology, you still need people who know how to use it, right?
Exactly. You need the people, and that's why the FHWA is so focused on training and education. It's not just about finding researchers and engineers. They need people who can create and run these really good training programs so that everyone involved in road safety, from designers to construction workers to police officers, everyone has the knowledge and skills to really build this safe system.
So they're really tackling this problem from every angle.
Yeah.
But let's be real, safety is not always the most exciting topic.
No.
How are they going to get people actually interested in this stuff?
Well, one of their big priorities is something they call getting the word out.
Okay.
And believe it or not, they're actually looking for people who can make safety engaging.
What, really?
Yeah.
How?
Well, they talk about things like websites, social media, even exhibit booths at conferences.
Yeah, exhibit booths at conferences. How's that going to make roads safer?
I know it sounds a little different, but think about it. What if they had these interactive exhibits or maybe even virtual reality simulations?
Right.
That could really show people what happens, when you drive unsafely. That could have a huge impact on people's behavior.
Okay, I'm starting to see how that could actually be a good idea.
Yeah.
But what about all the less glamorous stuff? Like all this research, training, outreach, I mean, it's got to be a ton of paperwork, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And they're thinking about that, too. They've actually got a whole task force dedicated to operations and administration.
Okay.
Somebody's got to keep everything running smoothly.
I can just imagine all the spreadsheets and meetings.
For sure.
But even for that, they're saying that they need tech skills like SharePoint Power, BI, even AI tools.
Yeah.
It seems like technology is going to be part of every single aspect of this.
Yeah, it really seems like they are committed to using everything they can to reach this goal of making roads safer.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground already from, the safe system approach to all the behind-the-scenes stuff.
We have.
But before we go any further, let's pause for a second and think about you, the listener.
Yeah.
What stands out to you so far? What are you most curious about?
So welcome back. We've been talking about the FHWA's big plan for road safety. But I want to dive into some more of the specifics.
Yeah, for sure.
Because this document isn't just, goals and ideas. It's full of real problems that they're trying to solve.
Right. Like, give me an example.
Yeah.
What's like a real-world situation where they're putting these ideas into action?
Well, they're really getting into the weeds with data analysis.
Okay.
Going way beyond just like counting accidents.
Right.
They're talking about combining information from crash reports, the characteristics of the roads, even traffic patterns. It's like they're trying to build this big puzzle,
Yeah.
piecing together all these little bits of information to understand why crashes happen, not just where.
Okay, so that makes sense. But data is just data, right?
Right.
How do they actually use it to make roads safer? What's the plan?
Well, that's where the technical expertise comes in.
Okay.
They need people who understand things like the highway safety manual methodologies,
Yeah.
which is basically like the Bible for road safety engineers.
Gotcha.
It's full of best practices, based on data for designing and evaluating roads. They're also looking at all this new technology like machine learning to build models that can predict what might happen. Like imagine a system that can tell you which spots are high risk
Right.
before accidents even happen, or, figure out which safety measures actually work in the real world.
Okay, so they're using the data to make better decisions about how they design roads and stuff.
Yeah.
But what about the human element? All those drivers out there making not so great choices.
You're totally right. Even with the best roads and the smartest technology, you still have to think about human behavior.
Of course.
That's why the FHWA is really focusing on what they call program delivery approaches.
Okay.
It's about making sure these safety plans actually work out in the real world.
Yeah.
Thinking about things like what the community needs, policy issues, even the FHWA's own ability to actually do all this stuff.
Right. So it's not just about having a great idea in the lab. It's about actually being able to put it into practice on the streets. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I noticed they mentioned needing people who understand transportation legislation.
Yeah.
What does the law have to do with road safety?
Well, you got to navigate all these laws and rules that affect road safety projects.
Okay.
Thinking about things like funding requirements, even liability issues.
Right.
People who know about this stuff can make sure these safety projects are effective and follow all the rules.
Okay, so it's like having a legal expert on the team to make sure everything's above board.
Exactly.
But let's not forget about the people who are actually out there doing the work.
Yeah.
The engineers, construction crews, even the police. How are they being trained on all these new ideas?
That's a big focus for the FHWA. They're putting a lot of resources into training and professional development, using all kinds of methods from traditional classes to online learning and even virtual workshops.
Virtual workshops? I could just picture a bunch of engineers in VR headsets designing virtual roundabouts.
Oh, it sounds funny.
But seriously, what kind of training are we talking about here?
Well, it's everything from teaching engineers about the latest safety designs to training police officers on how to enforce traffic laws. They want to make sure that everyone has the most up-to-date knowledge and skills.
Right. And it's not just about the technical stuff, right? They also mentioned training in things like public health and community engagement. What's the connection there?
Well, it shows that they're starting to see road safety as not just an engineering problem, but also a social one.
Okay.
They're realizing that things like community involvement, public awareness campaigns, and even the role of public health professionals can all play a part in preventing crashes.
So it's like a public health approach to road safety.
Yeah, kind of.
Instead of just treating the crashes after they happen, they're trying to prevent them in the first place by addressing things like distracted driving or bad road design.
Right.
That's really interesting. But let's be honest, public service announcements about buckling up can be pretty boring. How are they going to actually reach people with these safety messages
Yeah.
in a way that sticks? Remember that getting the word out task force.
Yeah, this is where they get creative.
Okay.
They're looking at all sorts of things, traditional stuff like publications and websites,
Hmm.
but also social media campaigns and even, yes, those exhibit booths at conferences.
Okay, we got to talk about these exhibit booths again.
Uh-huh.
Seriously, how do they fit into this whole safety thing? Are they going to be like giving out free helmets and bumper stickers?
Maybe, but I think it's more about giving people a chance to actually interact with this stuff,
Okay.
making safety information more engaging and accessible. Imagine an exhibit that shows you how dangerous texting and driving is, or a virtual reality experience that puts you in the shoes of a pedestrian crossing the street.
Okay, I see how that could actually be effective. It's about going beyond just telling people to be safe and actually making them feel it.
Exactly. And it's not just one-way communication either. They're talking about peer exchanges where people from different organizations or different parts of the country can get together,
Yeah.
share their best practices, talk about challenges, and work together to find solutions.
So it's like a brainstorming session for safety experts.
Yeah, something like that.
That sounds pretty cool.
It shows that they're taking a collaborative approach to this,
All right.
recognizing that nobody has all the answers.
Okay, well, we've covered a lot in this deep dive,
Yeah.
from data analysis and technical stuff to
Yeah,
training programs and even creative ways to communicate.
yeah.
But before we wrap up this part, let's bring it back to you, the listener. What has been the most surprising or interesting thing you've heard so far? What questions are on your mind? Okay, so we're back for the last part of our deep dive into road safety. We've talked about the FHWA's plans, all the data they're using, even how they're trying to make safety more exciting. I mean, exhibit booths, who knew?
Yeah.
But now I'm wondering, what does it actually take to be part of this safety squad? Like, if we were applying for a job at the FHWA, what would we need on our resumes?
Well, first of all, you need to show that you really get the safe system approach.
Okay.
Remember, it's not just about stopping crashes. It's about minimizing the harm when they do happen because, people make mistakes.
Right.
So you'd want to go beyond just traditional engineering and highlight experience with things like human factors, research, traffic psychology, even urban planning.
Okay, so understanding people, not just roads, is really important.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm guessing they're also looking for some serious data skills.
Absolutely. They love data at the FHWA.
Okay.
So they need people who can analyze all that information, but also understand what it means and explain it to others. Think data visualization presentations, even being able to explain complicated statistics in a way that everyone can understand.
So data and communication skills, check. But road safety involves a lot of different people, right? From engineers to policymakers to just everyday drivers.
Yeah.
Are they looking for people who can work well with others?
Oh, collaboration is key. They don't want people who just want to work alone. They're building a team of experts who can share ideas and work together on these complicated partnerships. Think of it like a puzzle where everyone brings a different piece.
Gotcha. So we've got understanding the safe system approach, data skills communication, and a team player attitude. Anything else for our pretend resumes?
Well, remember how we talked about public health and ADA compliance?
Right?
Depending on the job, having experience in those areas could be a big plus.
Yeah, it's about bringing in different points of view and understanding that road safety isn't just about engineering, it's about people.
Exactly.
It's about understanding how everyone uses the roads, pedestrians, cyclists, drivers of all abilities.
It's about making a system that works for everyone, safe, equitable, and accessible.
Okay, so we might not all be applying for jobs at the FHWA, but I think there's a bigger message here. This document isn't just about jobs. It's a call for all of us to think differently about road safety.
I agree. It's a reminder that we all have a part to play.
So what can we do even if we're not engineers or politicians? How can we help make a difference?
Well, we can start by learning about the safe system approach and talking about it with our friends and family.
Yeah.
We can support groups that are working to improve road safety and push for policies that put safety first.
And maybe the most important thing is that we can all be more careful and responsible when we're on the road.
Yeah.
Whether it's putting our phones away, speaking up when we see dangerous driving, or even choosing to walk or bike instead of driving whenever we can, it all adds up.
It really does. It's about creating a culture of safety where we all look out for each other.
Well, everyone, we've reached the end of our deep dive into the future of road safety. We've talked about the FHWA's plans, the schools they're looking for, and hopefully given you some ideas about how we can all work together to make roads safer.
It's been a great discussion, and I hope you've learned something new about this really important issue.
But the conversation doesn't stop here. We want to hear from you. If you were part of this safety dream team, what would you do? What are the biggest challenges and how would you solve them? Share your thoughts and keep talking about this, because the future of road safety depends on all of us.
Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.